Hello, so I am Lisa Peterson. I'm a PhD student in the Quantitative Fisheries Center at Michigan State University, and I'm working on my dissertation with Dr. Mike Jones. So the overall title of my dissertation is Evaluating Methods for Estimating Natural Mortality Using Acoustic Telemetry Data. But let's break that down a little bit. So acoustic telemetry is a way of tagging fish with electronic tags. So you catch a fish, you put an electronic tag in them, and then you release that fish back out into the water. And this electronic tag is constantly emitting a ping. And if this tagged fish goes by a receiver that you place in the water, this receiver picks up that ping that the fish is emitting and records it. So this generates a lot of data of specific places in space, so specific locations where the receiver is and where the fish is through time. So you have a temporal and a spatial type data set. So that's the data that I'm using. And I'm getting this data from this group called GLADOS. So that's an acronym that stands for the Great Lakes Acoustic Telemetry Observation System. And what that is it's a group of researchers, and a lot of them are through management agencies that come together and collaborate on acoustic telemetry data. So basically, if you're doing a project in one part of the lake, your data goes into the same database as if you were as a researcher in a different part of the lake or in a different Great Lake. So it's a really great collaboration between researchers that generates a lot of data on a lot of different fish species. So my project is using that data to try to estimate natural mortality. Now, natural mortality is basically the fraction of death that happens in a fish population year after year that is not due to fishing mortality. So it's a catch-all term for all death that fish experience that's not fishing mortality. So as you might imagine, that's kind of hard. It's a hard thing to observe, so it's a hard thing to estimate. But it's really important. So management agencies, particularly for walleye and Lake Erie, which is my focus study species, they use a stock assessment model to evaluate the status of the fish population year after year. And an important parameter of that fish stock assessment model is natural mortality. So my project is trying to use this different type of data to get at this parameter that's really important. Because if a stock assessment model is wrong, that's going to lead to issues with management, because they use these stock assessment models to set total allowable catch, which influences how much fish can be taken out of the lake by fishing groups, so by commercial fishermen and anglers and things like that. So it's really important, but it's hard to estimate, so my project is trying to estimate that. So that's kind of the first way that my project interfaces with management and policy decisions. And the other way is that since this data is it's newer, and so the ways to use it are still being discovered. If my project shows that it is a good way to estimate these population level parameters that are really important for management, then maybe management agencies might focus more resources into collecting this type of data and supporting groups like GLADOS, because it has the potential to increase their knowledge about the fish populations without having to rely on catching the fish themselves, which is one of the really big benefits of acoustic telemetry. So there's a lot of interest by management agencies in this process that I'm going through. It's kind of very quantitative, but also really of high interest to the different management agencies around the Great Lakes. And preliminarily, it looks like acoustic telemetry could have a lot of potential for giving us a lot of information about these different fish species. So yeah, that is my project.